Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am Scotty Ball, and you're listening to Balls Deep Sports Talk here on Northern Lights Radio at WNLMradio.com. Thanks for stopping in and listening to the show. If you tuned in last week to our maiden voyage, it had its ups and downs. One could say it crashed violently. About 5-10 minutes into the show, we experienced some audio difficulties, but rest assured, all of you listeners, that those issues have been fixed, and that will be a one-time issue of the past. But anyway, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, a lot going on in the world of sports, believe it or not. This time of year, a lot of people think that not much is going on, and it can get pretty boring, but in fact, there's quite a bit going on. We got football to talk, basketball, hockey, NASCAR, fighting, lots of stuff on store for the show tonight. And if you like the show and want to help support the show and know what's going on at the same time, make sure to find us on Facebook. Just search Scotty Ball or the Balls Deep Sports Talk Show, and it'll bring you to us. And also, as of a couple days ago, we are on Twitter now, so you can find us on Twitter at BDST Show. Real simple, BDST Show. And the Twitter is a great way to interact with me in real time as the show airs. So if you have any questions or comments or feedback, use the Twitter. Follow us. And it's a great way for us to stay in touch with each other while the show is going on. All right, well, let's get to it, shall we? Had a lot of topics to choose from to start off the show tonight, but for the first segment of the show that I am calling for now, Balls on Fire, which will be the topic that I'm most heated about, whether it be positive or negative. That's what I'm going to start off the show with, and as much as there's going on in Minnesota sports, I decided to hit that up a little later in the show tonight, and we're going to start out the segment with Manny versus Money. That's right, I'm starting the show out with boxing. Now, in case you haven't heard, the big dream fight that everyone, diehard boxing fan, casual boxing fan, even non-boxing fans, have been clamoring for, asking for, wanting, and waiting for the last 6 odd years to happen has finally been booked. It is a done deal. Manny Pacquiao will take on Floyd Money Mayweather on Saturday, May 2nd of this year, 2015. Now, not trying to overhype anything, but this day is already shaping up to be what should be one of the best, most exciting sports days of the entire calendar year. You've got NBA playoffs and NHL playoffs taking place on Saturday, May 2nd. You've got the baseball season underway, and it is a rivalries week. So you will have the Red Sox versus Yankees amongst many other matchups on that Saturday. But, of course, the highlight, the main event of the entire day will be the Manny versus Money showdown. Now, as I said earlier, people have been asking for this fight to happen for roughly 6 years now. And I say better late than never. I don't know if it will accomplish and rejuvenate the sport of professional boxing and its presence in the mainstream and in pop culture the way that it could have had it had taken place earlier, say 4 or 5 years ago. But the fact that people are excited about a boxing match in itself is an accomplishment, and I feel that barring a horrible showing by both fighters, people will be happy with the entertainment value of this fight. Now, the common belief going into this fight is that Manny stands little to no chance, which I don't know, to be quite honest with you. I think it's an intriguing matchup on both sides. Both of these fighters are unquestionably past their primes, and that's one of the reasons why it won't have quite the impact that it could have had it taken place earlier in both of their careers. However, they are both such big names and draws in their sport and globally Floyd is famous outside of the boxing circles in the United States, which most boxers over the past 10 years can't say. Oscar De La Hoya is probably one of the only boxers I can think of that was famous as a celebrity in the United States within the last 10 years other than Floyd Money Mayweather. And globally, Manny Pacquiao is huge. He's a congressman, for crying out loud, over in Asia. So he's extremely famous, a big celebrity, and globally has an amazing draw still at this stage in his career, where he's focused on other things like politics, and he's even talking about playing basketball and some garbage. But very, very established, very global fan base. Now, these fighters are on the older side, but they're both close to each other in age. Manny's actually the younger of the two. He's younger than Floyd by about a year and a half, even though it seems and feels like Manny is the older of the two fighters. He, in fact, is not. Floyd is 38, and Manny's only 36, I believe. And there are other things that make this matchup intriguing as well. You've got Floyd being a traditional right-hand hitter going up against Manny, who is a left-handed puncher. His left hand is a strong hand, and that could pose unique, interesting challenges for Money, Mr. Mayweather, playing defense, although Floyd is known for being one of the, if not the best defensive fighters of all time. You've also got an interesting contrast with Floyd being your speed guy, where he's known for being lightning fast, not very powerful, and you've got Manny, who packs a bit more power in his punch. He comes into this fight with 38 career knockouts as opposed to Mayweather's 26. Now, granted, Manny's also fought like 10, 15 more fights than Floyd has. So obviously he's got more opportunity for knockout, but still, if you look at the percentage and the ratio in which the knockouts come, Manny wins more often by knockout than Floyd does. Floyd does not usually win by knockout. But obviously what makes this the most intriguing and really adds all the interest to this specific fight is Floyd Mayweather's unblemished record as a professional fighter. He is 47-0-0. He has never lost. He has never even been in a draw. He is completely undefeated in every definition of the word. And Manny Pacquiao, while past his prime a little bit, is still almost unquestionably the biggest threat or challenge that has ever been posed to Floyd's perfect record. Now, another thing I find interesting with this fight is the contrasting personalities of the two fighters involved. You've got Floyd Money Mayweather, who is very flamboyant, very big talking, very showboaty, we'll say. And then on the flip side, you've got Manny, who is, like I said, he's a politician over in his home country of the Philippines. He is very well-spoken. He is very disciplined. He is not very flashy or flamboyant in any way. He's more your grinder, your hard-working type of guy. Your make as little noise as possible, walk-to-walk type of fighter. So very, very contrasting personalities from the two fighters, and that's probably the other thing, the other element that I think can draw a huge non-boxing crowd and group of people into this fight as well, along with their celebrity status, is their personality differences. If you know who Floyd Mayweather is and you care at all about sports or boxing or anything, you have an opinion on Floyd one way or the other. You either love him or you hate him, or a combination of the two. Maybe you think he's the greatest boxer of his weight class ever, but you don't like the guy personally, something along those lines, or vice versa. But you have an opinion, and it's probably strong one way or the other. Manny Pacquiao, on the other hand, is very neutral. It's hard not to like the guy, but it's also hard to really, really get behind him and love him. He's just more one of those gray area performers, one of those guys that just, you like him, but you don't support him with your whole heart, or you don't like him, but you don't curse him and hate him and can't stand the guy. So complete opposites there, personality-wise. And I think that combined with Mayweather's record and the serious threat that Manny poses to that, I mean, heck, a draw would be basically the same thing as a win, because it would put a blemish on it. No one's ever done that yet. It's something no one's accomplished. So Manny can get a win or a draw here, and it's basically a win. But the question around this fight that matters most comes back to the timing of it and the initial thought behind why it should happen in the first place is, can this fight revive, rejuvenate, bring interest back into the sport of boxing? And as I said earlier, I believe the answer is yes. Now, that's not to say that I am predicting it will accomplish any grand feat of bringing boxing back to the mainstream, but the attention alone right now is more than boxing's had in years. And like I said earlier as well, so long as at least one of the two show up and bring an A-game performance into this fight, everybody's going to be entertained and happy with it. Now, personally, what I'm cheering for, what I'm hoping for, I'll share that with you. I am not a Floyd Mayweather fan, personally. I respect his right to do and say everything he wants, but I have the right to not like it or agree with any of it either, and quite often I find that I don't. However, I do respect his ability within the ring, and I do not question his greatness as a boxer. I can recognize, respect, and acknowledge someone's greatness without being a fan of it. That is possible. So, needless to say, I am not cheering for Floyd to win this fight. However, there is another and more significant reason why I am cheering for him to not win this fight. I would like to see boxing make somewhat of a comeback, and I feel this fight is its only shot. Therefore, it is my opinion that were the fight to end in either a Manny Pacquiao victory or a draw, which is honestly what I'm hoping for most of all, is a draw, because I want a rematch, and possibly even a third fight in this installment. I believe very strongly that if Floyd comes into this fight and in any convincing fashion whatsoever beats Manny, that Manny's probably going to retire from boxing, at least, full-time regular boxing, and focus more on his other interests and walk away from it. And Floyd will have no reason to have a rematch with him as well. We will just get the one fight if Money wins, convincingly. And that is why I'm cheering for anything but a convincing Floyd Money Mayweather victory over Manny Pacquiao. That's the primary reason. I'd love to know what you guys think about the fight, if you're even interested at all, or not, when the last time you cared about boxing was. Would love to know all these things. Who you got, who you picking to win, and why. But in order for me to find that out, you would have to find the show on Facebook, search Scotty Ball or Balls Deep Sports Talk, and it should lead you right to us. And also, we are now on Twitter at BDST Show. Plain and simple, BDST Show. So, follow the show on those social media platforms and let me know what your thoughts are. Just a reminder, you're listening to Balls Deep Sports Talk here on Northern Lights Radio at WNLMradio.com, and I am your host, Scotty Ball. Thanks for tuning in tonight. All right, well, that wraps up the Balls on Fire edition of this second episode of the Balls Deep Sports Talk show. Coming up, we got the meat of the show. Yes, I know I got real creative with the name of the second segment, but for now we're calling it simply The Meat. And for the meat of the show tonight, I couldn't choose anything other than what I am most passionate about in the sports world, and that would be my Minnesota sports teams. I am a